Hi everybody, this is Precalculus, Chapter 2, Part 3, and this section covers more complicated inputs. Alright, so for some purposes, things would be clearer if we define functions with an empty box instead of the letter x. So instead of saying f of x equals x plus 2 over 2x minus 1, wherever we've got the x, they just put a box, right? So that way we know that whatever goes here goes in the other places in the box, okay? The advantage of the empty box is that we can use the following rule. Whatever goes in the empty box on the left must go into the empty box, every empty box on the right. Basically, whatever you replace x with goes into every box, right? So if we wanted to find f of x plus 1, every time there's an empty box, we're going to put x plus 1. Okay, this tells us if that we feed x plus 1 into the function defined in the previous example, we get that, and then we would just simplify. So that would be x plus 3, and then this one we would distribute, so we get 2x, right? And then 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 would be 1. Note that the example above does not give us f of x plus 1, okay? It's giving us f of x plus 1, right? F of x plus 1 means that you replace this whole function, right? F of x plus 1 means that we take the whole function and we add 1 to it, okay? Up here, we fed x plus 1 into the function. Two completely different things. F of x plus 1 is decidedly not f times x plus 1. There's no multiplication going on here, even though we see the x plus 1 in parentheses. All right, so let's do an example. F of x equals x squared plus 3x minus 4. For a, we got to find f of 2x minus 1. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this. F of x equals x squared plus 3x minus 4. And we're supposed to find f of 2x minus 1. That means every time that we see x in this function, we're going to have to replace it with our value right here, okay? So here is an x, and here is an x. Both of those places we have to put 2x minus 1. There's our empty box, right? Right? So there and there. So we're going to just rewrite this as f of 2x minus 1. Okay, we don't even have to write that part necessarily. Actually, we'll just erase that part so it's less confusing. We're just going to do everything past the equal sign. So where that x is, we're going to write 2x minus 1. Okay, and that's our first box, and that's squared. Okay, plus 3 times x. What's x? 2x minus 1 minus 4. All right, so first we got to square this, so 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. We're going to get 4x squared minus 2x minus another 2x plus 1. So we would get 4x squared minus 4x plus 1, plus, now I got to distribute here. 3 times 2 would be 6x. 3 times 1 would be negative 3, and then minus 4. Now I got to put our like terms together. There are no other squared, so we'll do 4x squared. Okay, x's, there's 1, and there's 1. 6 take away 4 would be 2, positive 2x. And then we've got this positive 1, negative 3, negative 4. Negative 3 and negative 4 would be negative 7, plus 1 would be negative 6. Let me scroll down and make sure I did that right. 4x squared, 2x minus 6, yep. All right, so all we did was we fed our value into our function. All right, let's try another one. Erase some of this nonsense. Okay, so for B, we're going to be feeding in f of 2x and then subtracting 1. All right, so f of x is x squared plus 3x minus 4. All right, we're going to remember that. That's up here. And we have to find f of 2x minus 1. Whatever's in this box right here has to go where all of our x's are. So first we're going to do that. Then we're going to subtract 1. Okay? I think that it illustrates it pretty good down here on B. Not really. Okay. So there's our first one that we're going to replace with 2x, right? And we're going to square that. Okay. Plus 3 times x right there. So we're going to replace that with 3 times 2x, right? And then minus 4. And then we have to tack this minus 1 onto the end because it's not in parentheses. It's not part of what we're replacing x with. It's not in the box. We're just subtracting it on the end. All right, so 2x squared would be 2x times 2x, which would be 2 times 2 is 4x squared, plus 3 times 2 would be 6x minus 4 minus 1. We could just put those together, and that would be minus 5. And we can't reduce any further than that. That should be the answer. 4x squared plus 6x minus 5. Yep. Okay, so these are easier than you would think. You just have to make sure that you're replacing the right numbers. Right, they might seem confusing at first, but they're not so bad. All right, this next one. For C, we've got 2 times f of x minus 1. Okay, so notice something right here. We're not replacing, like we don't have anything in our f of x box. We're multiplying the function times 2 and then subtracting 1. So we're going to do 2 times the function. The function is x squared plus 3x minus 4, okay? Then we're going to subtract 1. See? So all we did was we took this to f of x minus 1, okay? So that time we didn't feed anything into our function to replace our x's because it didn't ask us to. All right, so here we got to distribute. And then 2 times 4 would be negative 8. And then all we got to do is put those two like terms together. Minus 9. Let me double check that. Square plus 6x minus 9. Yep. Easy peasy. Okay, so you just got to kind of be careful and watch what's going on, right? What they're asking you to do. So in this one, our f, we're finding f of 2x, right? In this one, we're just leaving our x as x. Note that we did get 3 different answers for the 3 parts. Now, if we look at these 3 parts carefully, they were all very relatively similar. It just depended on where the parentheses were, right? So in the first one, we had f of 2x minus 1. In this one, we had f of 2x minus 1. In this one, we had 2fx minus 1. It just depended on where those parentheses are and what order it's in, but we get 3 different answers. All right, this is the homework. So this one, you're going to do it kind of like the homework for the last part. So for number 1, right, you're going to be using this as your function. And then for A, you're trying to find f of x minus 3, okay? So if our function is x minus 3, we have to replace all of our x's with x minus 3. So we would do x minus 3 replaces that x, right? Minus 3, which would be, so that's the answer to A. For B, we're doing f of x minus 3. So now we have to replace the whole function with, there's our function value, x minus 3. So if f of x is x minus 3, and then we put our minus 3, That one comes out the same, actually. All right, C, this one we're dividing. Actually, we're not. We're replacing our function with a division. So we've got f of 2x over 3, right? And if our function is x minus 3, we have to replace our x with over 3 minus 3. Okay, now to make these be like terms, let's see. To make these have the same common denominator, that's 3 over 1, right? So if I do this times 3 over 3, I would get minus 3 times 3 is 9 over 3, 9/3, right? So I just changed this 3 into 9/3 so that I could have our bottoms the same. And we get 2x minus 9 over 3. So that'd be it, the answer to that one. Alright, so that's how you would do the homework for that part. Alright, that is it for chapter 2, part 3, more complicated inputs.